Hey.
How are you?
Hey, I was jamming to the Stevie. I was like,
Man,
yes.
Stevie always says that.
Always.
You just have Stevie, you're good, you're good. Hey to you. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my spill, then we're gonna get on into it. So,
Okay.
welcome to Happy Hour also, guys. You know how I always do. I always gotta start with an intention and a word. And so our phrase for today is just do it. And it looks like it, right? Backwards. But it's just do it. And I was thinking, I actually happened to attend this amazing organization called the Rock Churches. And one of our pastors always say, when you go out to do something, you must first pray, plan, and then proceed, right? And I've been meditating on that all day. Pray, plan, and proceed. Because, many of us, we get the prayer part right. And then a lot of us, we get the planning part right. But it's that proceeding part that we cannot get into, like that launching part that we can't get into. And I started to think, when I was thinking about how to start Happy Hour also, how to go into this day, I said that it's so easy to dream out loud. It's so easy to have a dream, but it's not that easy to take up space and to do it. And so when I started to think of a person that I have admired probably since I launched into acting, probably since I started going out on audition and seeing this awesome, amazing woman, when I started thinking about a person who went from dreaming to just do it, I said, my girl, Erin Cherry, gotta come on here with me right now. So, welcome, guys. This woman is so dynamic in so many different facets, and we as queens can honor each other. And so I just want you guys to give her a thumbs up right now because we're about to get this started. Our topic for today is how to go from dreaming to just do it. Welcome, girl. What's going on?
Thanks for having me. Just to take that in, what a beautiful introduction. And just to, you don't know until someone says it out loud. And for you to say that and how I've inspired you, I have no words. It just fills me with so much joy because you want to be a plant, you want to plant the seeds. You want to you want to just go with where you're being called, where you're being led, follow your dreams. And then you don't know, like, as I have this image of the seed planter, it's like just walking and just throwing seeds out, and just, you may not be able to see some of them grow, but the fact is that you plant the seeds, and to get a flower, one flower while I'm alive is so good. I love that. Thank you so much.
We water and we plant each other.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on. So first of all, let's just talk about you. What is your story? Where are you from? How did you find your way into your industry? Let's talk about that.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, via the South. My mom's from New Orleans, and my dad's from Shreveport, Louisiana. They went to a HBCU. That's where they met, and had me. I was born in Shreveport, and then we moved to Vegas when I was about 7, and then that's where I grew up. And my mother was always into plays, in the arts herself. And she even said as a little baby she would take me to see plays. And the first play I remember, I have a visual remembrance to this day, is when she took me to see For Colored Girls at 7 years old. And so that's when I looked at her and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is I want to do this. I had no idea what was in front, but I just remember seeing these beautiful women in different colors, and just the emotions and what I was feeling, and my eyes were like big as saucers, and I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. So,
nice. Did you see the recent For Colored Girls at the Public?
I did, at the Public, yeah. And it took me back because that's the first play that I remember, and so to see it, I've seen it produced a couple of times, but to see it there, and Okui, who I love, she's in the production, and I just love her performance art. I love her documentary, Bronx Gothic, and so to see her in person, I went there. I wanted to see the play anyway, but when I knew she was in it, it was like an extra treat for me because I'm a fan of her work. So it was beautiful to watch her, just the way she moved, like her movement. Yeah. I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, just the shoulder. I was like, that shoulder means something.
She brought that part alive for me in ways that I never ever.
Yes, exactly.
The way she did that monologue and her body. If you guys are just tuning in right now, we're talking about how to go from dreaming to just doing
Really, it's so funny because a lot of people say that, but Cherry, my full name Erin Cherry, and Cherry started just well, family full of Cherry. So when I go home to visit my family, even as a kid, I go visit my grandparents. Everybody's Cherry. It was like my dad. There was I was baby Cherry, and then there was my dad. Everybody was Cherries, and so it came out of that, and also it came out of being seated in school in alphabetical order, and everybody would just be called by their last name. And friends of mine, making a stick. And for me, just in my social life and my artistic life, and just in school and just in college, Cherry was my name, right? At home with my mother, I'm Erin, right? And so that's a special thing. And then when I go home to be with my father, he calls me by my middle name. And so it's just, I love the fact that I get to utilize all of my name. But I feel like because of the way I have gravitated towards Cherry, the way I feel like a Cherry, and it's my name, and just how my teachers and my friends would just started calling me that, it's who I am. And so that's why when I said that to you, is because it's more familiar, it's more people for family, it's more of my peers, and it brings it makes it equal playing field for me. And Erin for me is so formal with my friends. I'm like, no, I've always been Cherry my whole life. So just call me Cherry.
It's like breaks the ice a little.
Yeah, and it's so funny because since my win, a lot of people want to call me Erin and go back to try to call me Erin. I'm like, just because I won doesn't mean I'm going to be that formal. No, I'm always going to be Cherry. I'm going to be Cherry to the day that I die too. It's just a lovable name that I love, and I love the fact that I can utilize it.
Awesome. So speaking of this win, if you're just tuning in right now, we're meeting with Erin Cherry, my girl, my sister from another mother and the same daddy. And we're talking about how to go from dreaming to just doing. So we parked on win a little bit, and if you guys didn't know, or if you didn't know through the grapevine or whatever, this woman had the opportunity of being an Emmy Award winner. And so I want to go back to that night right now, right? Okay. So it's the Emmys, you're sitting in the audience, and it's like moments before, and it's all type of butterflies in your stomach, and you're praying every single scripture you know. What was going through your mind moments before you hear your name? So when they do the setup for Outstanding Actress in a Digital Drama, what is going through your mind? Like, can you just set that up for us?
It's so funny because I have so many feelings, but the one thing I will say, and being full transparent, is that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so embarrassed if I don't win. And I don't know why that popped in my head, because I wasn't expecting to win. Like, I didn't even write anything down. I was just like, okay, I'm just happy to be in the room. The fact that I got nominated, Lord, fine. And all I could just remember is just me breathing, just taking deep breaths, because I could feel the anxiety starting to rise. Because at the same time, you're like, okay, you do want to win. If they don't call your name, you're going to be disappointed. So I was just all these mixed emotions. And then I was sitting next to my castmate, and they were just, holding my hand, and I was just really trying not to pass out, because I just got so overwhelmed with anxiety. And so, because that moment, it was really real. And then the drum roll, and then you're like, okay, let's just get it over with. I was expecting my Katie Huffman, who's this huge Broadway, Tony Award winner actress, who just everybody in Broadway, New York loves her. I was like, oh, she's gonna win. But the fact is that the people in the Academy voted for me, and they liked my work, and I won, and I was not expecting it. And so now it's just a lesson of just, you don't know. You don't know. And so I just want to be present. Okay, amen. And I just want to be, I don't want to be present. I want to be in the moment, and and for the next one, if it's an Oscar or Grammy or trying to get that EGOT, I'm gonna I'm gonna write something down because like when they called my name, everything went blank. Like I couldn't get my words together. There was just so many lights in my face. I was just so I was bawling, and then I was like trying to calm myself down because I was doing that ugly cry, that black girl ugly cry, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then I was like, and then I can't get the words out, and then my face was all crunched up, and so I was just like, and I had to just breathe and go, okay, you know what, let's just get through this. But I don't remember what I said. I had to go back and watch the video later because I was so worried that I didn't thank my mother. I was like, oh my God, did I thank my mother? There were so many people I forgot, I left out, so yeah. It was a magical night. It was my first nomination and first win.
Right. So your first time that you did this TV, not even TV, it was a film. The first time you do this film is the first time you won.
Yeah, it's my first nomination. I've never really been nominated for anything, and also too to feel to be recognized for my work is a beautiful feeling. Because it's like you really have to love this work to stay in it day after day and hustle the way that we hustle and pound the pavement. Because sometimes you'll get overlooked. No one even cares who you in the room. There's so many aspects that come with it, and sometimes you just put in this work and you don't get recognized for it, and you just have to keep pushing. You have to believe in yourself and believe in your own work, and that's what keeps me going. But I just was like, I'm doing the work because I want to work. I want to be in a room full of actors who love the work, and we're going to do this together. And we showed up. We showed up every day. We gave each other love. We shot this series, and we got 5 Emmys. And no one went in going, okay, well, you know what? Let's do this 5 Emmys. You know what I mean? So
nice. Now, if you're just tuning in, the name of this film is called After Forever, and it's available on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Amazon Prime, and there's 2 seasons now. As far as third season, it's on hold because of everything that's going on. But
nice.
we are going to shoot it. I just don't know when. But there's a third season, hopefully. Prayers up.
That's amazing. So, how did you prepare for this character? Like for the actors that are tuning in right now, let's just talk about that because it's I want to break down who this character is and so many things. So how did you talk to me about that character? How did you prepare? What was like your struggles with that and so forth?
My struggle was actually before I got cast because Michael Slade he won an Emmy for the best for writing, and we met in person. We had meetings, which was new for me. When they're like, we're gonna have a meeting, let's meet for coffee, let's talk about, because sometimes you get to a certain level and you don't audition. They're like, this is come talk about the character. What do you think, right? And so he had sent me the script, and I read it, and it was a test for me at the time because people who know me, as you know, I'm very adamant about how Black people are presented in the world, especially Black women. I love us so much. And there was a couple of things on paper that I was like, oh, I have to just be honest. I can't sit there and pretend like this doesn't bother me or this doesn't bother me or this is lacking. So we met. He asked me what I thought about the script at the time, and I was honest with him. I said, the way that she's written right now, there's a couple of things that I just would want to change if I were to play this part. And he was like, really, like what? And so we just had this long conversation. He was really open to me. We clicked off. We clicked it right away. We talked for like 2 or 3 hours, and he was just like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." And he's like, "I'm gonna take in what you said." And so, and then he was like, "It's between you and another person, right?" At this time, because he had been meeting with people, and he narrowed it down to me and someone else. And at the time, I was like, "Dang, I done sat here with this man. I gave him all my insight. I done broke it down. I'm like, this is how you write this Black girl." And now you're going to give it to somebody else, so, and so, but you just go about your life, and that's what I did. And then, about 2 weeks later, he, reached out to me and said, I really want you to come play Brenda. I really think you understand exactly where I want to take her and how I want her to grow. And then, he sent me the new script with some of the changes I had requested. And then, I was like, when does that happen? Where you get to sit down, speak your truth, and be heard, and then have those things implemented. Especially not in a Black environment, right? It's like it was just something I wasn't used to, and that I was like, oh, I want more of this, and then we shot it, and then here I am with the Emmy.
Come on now. A woman.
So all because I stayed to my truth, right?
Yeah. There's something about clocking in to that truth. And the fact that you were able to go in there, because I'm sure many actresses in your position would have probably been nervous, like, I don't want to come in and I don't want to put my juice on it or my spin on it. But you stood in your truth, and I think that that's something to be said by that. Is what does it mean to stand in your truth and to stand up for what you believe in? You know what I mean? And so, with that being said, do you have any advice for like young actors that are entering this field? I mean, we're both artists, we're both actors. I get to be on this side and not say anything. But do you have any advice when someone's like, I have this in my spirit, I have this in my gut. Where
Well, I would say, for me, I journal a lot, and so I would say start with listening to what's inside of you. Listen to that voice. Listen to God, Goddess, universe, how you identify. But for me, it's like you having the silence, having that self care enough to, especially now with what's going on, to sit and just to really go, okay, these are the aspirations, these are some of the dreams and the goals that I have, but I don't know where to start. But the thing is, start by writing it down because I realize for myself, and I'm still realizing this. I'll think of something or I'll dream, but I'm dreaming like this, and then something will happen, something will happen, and God will go, okay, it will be bigger than what I dreamed. And so I just say, because I'm going through this myself, it's having the courage to dream big. Try not to dream small, because it's like you think this way and I think this small, but then God's like, what? Why you didn't get that in me? Here's this in me, or it's just I start to see how I can be my own enemy in the fact of like the way checking on my inner monologue, giving myself self-love, and honoring my dreams by writing them down and believing that they can happen. So I would say start with writing them down, dreaming big, and then go through back and then see what little bit you can do. You don't have to do everything in one day, right? You can do what you can do today, and then a little bit tomorrow, then a little bit next week, and then a little bit next month. And just know that Rome wasn't built in a day, and just really give yourself daily goals that don't overwhelm you, because I find myself, I get overwhelmed very easily. So I'm like, you know what? I can only do these two things today. If I do four, I'm going to be a hot mess, and and then I'm going to open a bottle of wine and drink the bottle. It's like, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to, don't want to do that to my body and to my spirit, So it's like, what can I honestly do? I can do these one or two things. I can make that phone call, or I can send this email, or I can plant that seed of idea. So, it's just, you have to be good to yourself and give yourself that time.
I love that. I love that. I literally was just having a conversation yesterday about being good to yourself. I remember I was in a conversation about a specific scripture that says, don't cast your pearls before swine. And I was talking about this and going in, and the person said to me, well, Latonia, you first got to know that you have pearls. Before you have to know that you have pearls. You know what I mean? And that goes back to us valuing ourselves. And I think as artists, that needs to be on that list of things to do. That's why I love that you said that you start off with journaling. This is something like, I just started this thing where every morning I do these morning pages and I just write out, I like empty my brain.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
And that's how this idea came, this happy hour also. And
I think it's great.
Right? And so sometimes, I think that we think that you got to get the cart before the horse or whatever like that. Sometimes it's like you said, it's just starting with these ideas and just building on those ideas and just allowing God to manifest it.
Yes, because I'm glad you said that about manifesting, because it's like, if you can think it, like if you can, Kurt Franklin, if you can think it, you can achieve it. Today's a new day, all that stuff. But but those things, matter, because it's like, if you, like the example I go to is like something like a Steve Jobs, right? He had this idea in his head, and now we all have cell phones or iPhones, or Apple phone, or iMac, or whatever they are. And so it's like, just get the idea out, write it down, and go from there. But don't let the idea just live in there and then it disappears. Get it out of you, put it on paper, and really, just like I said, take one day at a time.
Right, and just do it.
And just do it, like you said, just do it.
Just do it. Nike had something when they said just do it. They put a check, and I love how they put a check. It's like, I did it. Done.
Yes, that's done.
I'm over it. So, I love that we're kind of in this. It's funny because every guest that I have on is like a different like group. I just feel like we're so chill right now. I feel like I'm I love you, Cherry.
I love it. I love you too. I would love to be on the beach right now, but hey,
Girl, I wish you could do that Zoom background when we go to a beach with an island or something like that. Oh. Imagine it, right?
Yes, imagine it, yes.
So you are a woman of God, and I feel like I want to ask this question to every believer that is an actor as well. And the big question is, how do you go about choosing your roles? Does your faith ever get into conflict with that? Like, what
Gosh, that's a good question.
I know.
It's a good question. It's a good question. That's a good question. For me, I would say my faith right now, as I hear you ask me that, instinctively it says I say no, and what I mean by that is that because of, well, I mean, I guess it depends. I will say this: it depends on the role, right? Because I don't want to get pigeonholed and stereotyped. So if I'm getting called in for the same thing over and over again and getting boxed in, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I've already done that. I'm done. I want to branch out. But if it's someone who is showing great humanity, I do not get into conflict because I look at the way one of my favorite books is called The Politics of Jesus, and I go through chapters and I read and I think about what he does, because for me Jesus was a revolutionary and follow the carpenter and all these different things, right? And so when I look at the humanity that he brought in and the people that he hung out with and how they were flawed and how God called Moses, and Moses was a murderer back in the day, when you think about all the things that he's done, and all the men and the women who are in the book, in the Bible, right? And how they're flawed. I don't have a right to judge my characters, right? So if I decide to say yes to this character, I am making a conscious choice as an artist to not judge them, which is very hard because we bring into our humanness into it, right? And when I say, as opposed to our humanity, it's like we have to go beyond our human parts of ourselves and go into our humanity and go, do these people, whoever that person is or the character is, do they need to be represented in the world? Because people like this person exists. Now, if it's a stereotype or an archetype that that is a negative into the community, that doesn't speak truth into little black girls or little brown boys, or bring black girl magic or black man joy, then of course I'm going to say no. But those characters for me mean that they're not written as three-dimensional. And so I need you to write a black woman on paper who is three-dimensional, who has a good sense of humanity. She's been through some things, and then you go through there. So that's where I enter into the characters, the humanity part of it.
Love it. Excellent. I know everybody's like, that was a good question.
That's a good one.
It's so funny because you're answering questions that are leading to my next question.
Oh, Al. Look. We're just flowing.
This morning is going.
Yes.
Reading an interview that you did with the Maggie Flanagan Studio, obviously you're a teacher there, and you said art is supposed to help make humanity better. Yeah. How do you feel you've done that?
Oh gosh, I know, I love that one too. I struggle with that because you like I was saying earlier, how you jump in and you do the work because you want to do the work and you want to plant the seed. And there's times where I'm like, I want to see my plant grow. I planted that seed. I've been watering that plant. Where's my leaf? I need to see I need a leaf or something, right? And so I don't know per se if people look at my work and go, this, you've touched me, because I haven't had a lot of people come up to me like what you said about me earlier. This really fills me up because I don't get to hear that every day. And I work in spite of, I do things in spite of what, people will say or not say. But the work that I have done, I'll say, I'm proud of because, like I worked with Andre DeShields and Knock Me a Kiss. I was very proud of that part because it was based on W.E.B. Du Bois, who was an actual living person and their family and what they did in the Harlem Renaissance and what they did for Black people and their love of Black people, right? I love doing work at the National Black Theater on 125th Street because of what they're putting into the community. And even if I don't know per se how I've personally touched them, I know by the audience when I see a room full of people that look like us that I'm doing something right,
So you're also a producer, Megan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you created this amazing show that I've gotten an opportunity to check out. It's so funny. I was like looking at you interviewed Lynette Freeman, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know she was doing story time, and it's so amazing how she was doing it, and I was so inspired. So you started the show, right? You started the show for Sundays with Cherry on top. How did that come about? What birthed that? Like, please talk to me about that.
So you know how you're talking about just do it, which I think is it's so perfect for today. Is just I I just didn't want to sit around and wait for the phone to ring, right? Because okay, amen. And just waiting for the and so when you talk about just do it, I am a visionary. I have these dreams. I journal. I write them down, and then I go, how can I execute this? And I was in a place where there's so much going on in the community. I know so many amazing people. Our community is big but yet small, and so many people are doing amazing work that no one knows about. And so unless they get it big to Viola Davis, who I love, if they get to that level, or Angela Bassett, then you have an opportunity to say what you're doing, or talk about your production company, or talk about a seed that you're planting. But for Camila, who's running the Apollo, or for someone like you that came up with this show, the Happy Hour, also, and there's men and women out there like Jonathan running the National Black Theater, or Ty Jones running Classical Theater Harlem. There's so many people doing things in our community, but because they don't have the traction or the fame, people don't know about it. It's kind of like with politics. It's like everybody looks at the Obamas and look at other people, but they don't look at Bryan Stevenson, who wrote the book Just Mercy, or who did that movie, and it's like people didn't know he existed until Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan did the movie. But there's people every day on the ground making sure that Black people are free, right? And so I was like, well, if I'm tired of waiting for the phone to ring. I don't know what to do. I want to be creative. And then I just sat in silence. I kept writing in my journal. And God kept telling me, use your name. Just whatever you do, use your name. And so I was like, listen, okay? I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just kept listening to it. And I'm like, well, I'm nervous to use my name because it doesn't have any meaning at that time. I have grown into, even though I love my name Cherry, I love that people embraced that name and gave me that name. I just felt like God was like, use your name. You're going to stretch into your name. You're going to live up to the Cherry. And I was like, okay. And so the name Sundays with the cherry on top came to mind. And then I was like talking to, I can't remember who it was, somebody in the community. And they're like, you know everybody. Who don't you know? And I was like, I see, and I was like, I don't know everybody though. I was like, I don't think I don't know everybody. And so with writing, God telling me to whatever you do, use your name, and the fact that look at the gifts that God has surrounded you with people who say, a person just told you that you know everybody. Well, why is that? Why are people wanting to know who Cherry is? Why are people wanting to gravitate around Cherry, who has nothing? I don't have $1 million. I'm not famous. I just love Black people. So how can I make that a thing that's authentic to myself? And that's how I came up with Sundays with the Cherry on Top. And it's just about me interviewing and going around New York City and interviewing the community and bringing the community to the light, to the forefront.
Well, you answered your earlier question. How has your art blessed humanity? Right there.
Oh my God! See, this is why I'm still dotting through with me yet, because I need to. Yes. Okay, you're right. See, I need to put this together. I'm still working on it. Like I have moments where I'm just like, I feel like there's days where I'm hard on myself. I'm like, okay, what I'm doing, is it working? I need my little leaf flower. And then there's days where I'm just like, you know what? I have to just trust. I have to listen to the voice inside of me and just trust and just keep going forward regardless of what happens. And that's the scary part. It's like, I don't know where this is going to go. It may not go anywhere, but I'm going to do it because I want to do it and I've been called to do it.
Right. I think that's the difference between dreaming and taking up space. And this is definitely a season to take up space in everything that you're doing. So kudos to you. So you spoke about opportunities and waiting for the phone to ring. For the people who are tuning in right now, talk to them about how important it is to create opportunities for yourself. Like, what has your experience been like with that? If you have any specific stories, or let's just talk about that for a second. Because in this season right now, it is the opportunistic season, right?
Yes. I feel like this is the perfect time because, especially for people who identify as Black people, specifically, to create your own work because you can cut out the middleman. Like I didn't know about Zoom until Zoom happened, until this pandemic happened, and then everybody like, let's do a Zoom play, let's do these Zoom things, and I'm just like, oh. So you can create things. You can write your play. You can have your play read. You don't have to want to go and get a reading at the public. You know what? Those are baby steps for you to learn how to do it yourself. You can practice by going. You know what? I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna have a play reading on Zoom. I'm gonna invite my friends. I just want them to hear it. Or I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna write this pilot. It's like what I can't remember your guest. I watched last week. And, yes, but what she say? Save the cat, kill the cat,
or it was save the cat.
Save the cat. Yes, and so it's like these are the opportunities now to get to save the cat and to write your own work and just know. I just feel like what has happened, and I think it has opened my eyes up to how a lot of the playing field is going to be level, and so a lot of us are not going to need the middleman. We're going to be able to just go and create our own shows if it's online and charge somebody and charge $10 or $5 online or donate here or you know what I mean. And people are going to watch it, and it's not like, and we don't have to go. You know what? I want my show to be at a roundabout or Manhattan Theater Club. It's like nope. You know what? The blessing in what's going on is like now you have ways to do what you want to do and not have the approval of the right institutions. I'm not saying that they're wrong because everybody deserves to have a spot at the table, but we're gonna have to create our own table, right? And so we can cut out the middleman and create our own work, and they'll come to us because if they're seeing 50 of us going into the Zoom meeting because of your play, Latonia, and we're paying $10, and you know what I mean? And they're like, what is going on? What is happening? Right. Because I think we're going to see a lot of changes. So I feel like you can become your own boss, your own producer, your own writer. If you want to open a dance studio, you can do Zoom stuff online. You can start now. You could just come up with a choreographed routine, get out of your fear, bring 10 friends on Zoom, and ask them their opinion, and just do that kind of thing. And that's what you can do. And that's what I think people are starting to realize, because before this, there was no hope in that area. A lot of people would struggle and go, I can't make this happen for myself. But now, you have this technology that's a blessing and a curse, but use it for the blessing of, you know what, I'm going to create this dance class, and I don't need to go rent a studio for $20 an hour. I'm going to do it in my home, in my backyard, and we're going to do it on Zoom. You know?
You know what's so funny? I got to stop for a second. I promised myself I wouldn't interrupt, but it's just...
No, go ahead.
There is a girl that I mentor on here that is a dancer, and I know she is hearing this right now, so I know that this is a word that you saying this right now, that you keep saying, start your own dance. Start your own dance class. Start your own dance class.
Yes.
Start your own dance.
Start your own dance class, because the thing is, like, what is holding you back? We're all quarantined. We're shut down, and this creativity is just is being born, and it's like who you're mentoring, who's listening to me right now, you can get your one dance class and try it out, see what happens, and learn from it, and go, okay, the next one's going to be this, and use your Zoom, have people come in, and ask. You can do it for free or ask for donations, and then you can grow it and grow it and grow it, and then when you get confident, do one on Instagram Live and just have your followers take a class with you, and just go from there. But I'm telling you right now, you don't need someone to tell you that you have to work here or dance at this company or dance in Alvin Ailey to start. Your dream might want to be Alvin Ailey, which is fine. But the thing is, like, you don't have to wait for that. You can work and still dance and love and do your own classes and produce for yourself. And then bam, Alvin Ailey picks up the phone and go, oh my God, I saw your Instagram Live, and would you come and teach a class? Amen.
Come on. It's that grasshopper giant mentality. You know what I mean? I think for so long, we as artists have considered ourselves grasshoppers. And I have to do it this way, and I have to do it, and this is how. And now God just changed everything. There has been a shift. And the great equalizer came in, and now we become the giant. So I am so glad that you said that, because that is true. So speaking of Sundays with a cherry on top, what is next for that? Like, is it going to be a podcast? What's that?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I do know I want to go back to the format, because the first year format was me going around New York City and interviewing men and women in their space, right? And so, and I was ready to do season 2, but then the pandemic hit. And so then I was like, okay, what do I need to do? I'll do the Rona editions, right? And so that's what I'm doing now. Sundays with the cherry on top, the Rona editions, because I can't go to, that black-owned tea company or that black-owned wine store, or that black theater right now. But once things start to let up and safety measures are, put in, I do want to do a season 2 of me going to black-owned bookstores, black-owned, businesses, and really just bringing them to the forefront and to the light, because a lot of people don't know they exist, and I feel like once we know they exist, the rest is history. And so, and I was asked if it would be a podcast, but the thing is, I do want to evolve into a podcast, but I want to evolve into a different topic, which I don't know if that's just black theater and the arts per se, or black politics, or like a variety of things. Yeah. So I do see myself doing a podcast, and I'm just right now writing down different points of views of what it would be and aspirational be, because I have the Sundays with the cherry on top, which is every Sunday. But then I'm like, do I want to oversaturate Sunday with my face? Every Sunday is like you see cherry all day, every day for 8 hours on Sunday. People are gonna be like, girl, please, just scroll by. So I might, it might be a podcast with a different name, and but I do see myself eventually as a corporation or a mogul in some sense, where I have my TV show, I have my podcast, I have different things that I'm thinking about that I'm writing down. But I see that, I can see that totally.
Okay, so this is I have more questions, but this just popped into my head. Do you have like a favorite guest so far, or a favorite company? I know. Look at me.
I love these questions. Okay. Gosh, okay, my dream guest. Okay, before I answer that, my dream guest would be, of course, if when my show gets picked up by Channel 13, local New York station, right? Amen. Or dream bigger, right? Like, it's like, I'm thinking this, and God might be like, hey, BET might pick you up, okay? Or Netflix, Sean Black Lee, we need a TV show, okay? And so, exactly. So, it's like, so I'm trying to dream like this instead of like this. So, in the event when that happens, of course, Michelle Obama, right? I'd be a hot lover and mess. But that's yours too, right? See, exactly. See, and so I watched Becoming the other day, and I cried through the whole thing.
Sure.
And so, okay, and so that would be my dream guest. But my favorite guest so far, I have two. First season was when I did the Hope Center in Harlem, and I went to Hope Center in Harlem and interviewed Kendra Frazier, who runs it, and we really talked about mental health in the Black community, and how specifically why it was put in Harlem, and how Black people can go get free counseling, and really talk about mental health, because I just feel like that's something that we in our community, it's starting to change now. But back in the day growing up, you didn't, even with my grandmother, you think we don't talk about them. It's always taboo to talk about what's going on with us emotionally. And then, we in our community, we've had people who have taken their lives, right? And you think they're doing really well, and then the next day they're gone, and you're like, wait, they were just in the show, and they look so happy, and you just never know what's going on. And I remember when we lost one prominent artist in our community to suicide, I just remember feeling so guilty about, I don't know. Why didn't I know? Why weren't these conversations happening? We need to have these conversations. So it was really important for me to interview her, and because I want people to know that there's places for us to go to actually talk about things, so we don't get to that place of wanting to take our own life. That was really important to me. And then so far in my Rona editions, my fun, I don't want to say, like, Lynette's looking, Lynette, I love you, but it's not you, I love you. She don't put me on the spot, Everybody who I interview, I love, because I personally know them. So it's like, it's hard because I love everybody, but so far, I really liked my interview with Terrence Terrell last week. He won the Emmy with me on the same night I won, in the same category. I got Outstanding Actress, he got Outstanding Actor. And it was just really fun. And the things that he's doing in the community and how he works in with inner kids and writes children books and how he's always giving back to the community. And that was a fun one. And we just laughed at the whole thing. So you guys, after you guys watch Happy Hour, also you can go over to Sundays with the cherry on top, and you can watch over there. So, but so far that's it. You know, I have a list of people that I want, that I have emails out. You know, we'll see. One great actor who everybody loves just said yes. I'm not gonna say right now, but yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, surprise going on. Yes. What other shows have you produced? I know that you have worked with several people in the industry, and everyone always says you know everyone. Was there a show that we know or that you want to talk about that meant a lot to you that you had the opportunity to produce?
Well, not necessarily show. I want to, as part of my mogul dream, with my production company, I do want to produce scripted series and you know, build a writer's room and things like that. And that's what I see in my future. But my background in producing has been in theater first, which is my first love, and being the executive director of Now Africa with Infamisa and Guzzy. Awanyu and Chichi and Infamisa and Ngozi are amazing playwrights. Chichi is an amazing talent manager. And when they came to me and asked me to be the executive director of the Now Africa Fest, I was like, girl, no, because you know I identify as Black. I'm African American. Some people say, you know, like it depends on their word, but my word is Black. And you guys are first generation Nigerian, like very specific. You need to go find you a first generation or an African, like Yvonne Orji, you know, like go ask her to executive produce, you know, because because they're all, you know, they're my family. But the thing is, like, I'm not Nigerian, but I had been producing with Jonathan McCory with National Black Theater. I was one of the founding producers of Harlem 9, you know, so with Erin Michelle Washington and and a lot of other people, and just really putting on like Woody King. We did a Woody King. I want to say, I can't think of the word, but we basically honored him, right? And we honored him with an award about all that he's done. And so producing things like that throughout the community, they came to me and said, "Would you be executive director and help us raise money and help us put together this playwrights festival because of the way you have a vision?" And so I was like, yes. And so we've done that playwrights festival for 2 years. The third year is on hold because everybody's busy being famous, and it's like we can't get in the room together.
Come on,
and then it's like, and so me going from theater to producing shows. My first show is a stepping stone and a learning tool. So when I do branch out to other shows, I'll be ready.
Nice. So we're gonna go like this for a second.
Okay.
So there, with everything that has been birthing this season, you know, the culture has been birthing a lot this season, and there's been a lot of these like versus competition happening, and versus Swiss Beats, and you know what I mean. So for Jill and Erica, which was actually my favorite.
Oh my God, my favorite too.
Oh my God, so amazing. Can you talk to me, since that was your favorite, because that's what I want to touch on. What stood out to you in that battle? For those who are watching right now, talk to us about that, because I know what was dear to me and why I decided to tune in, but what was dear to you?
The love they had for each other.
Yeah.
How I just love how they gave each other the stage. Right? They weren't trying. They're both powerful, amazing, super soul, badass women on stage and off. Right? And the thing is, like, you know, one could be like, I'm Jill Scott, one could be like, I'm Erykah Badu, and make it like puff up, you know, get the feathers puffed up. But it was like, but because I'm Erykah Badu, because I'm Jill Scott, and everybody knows who we are, and we both are badass. I don't need to prove who I am. I don't need to show who I am. You play your song, I'm gonna play my song. You play your song, I'm gonna play my song. Girl, look how many songs we've come up to. We did good, right? I just loved all of that because it was like no competition, no show. They both know that they contribute to the world, and they didn't need to compete about that. I love there was no competition.
Way to take it from being like little girls to women, right?
Yeah.
Way to show that how they complemented each other. And
Yeah.
I think that's what I've been learning a lot in this season. Having done the Measure for Measure at the Public Theater with all these Black women on stage.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Oh, yes. That. Yeah. Yeah.
I love my sister so much. But to be in that space with them and this constant like just submitting to each other, just complimenting each other, and I feel like that is in the spirit this season right now of people just doing that, especially with all these different shows popping up and everybody being so innovative in this season. I think it is a spirit, or maybe because of what's going on with this world, of just like, you have your space, I have my space, and we will vibe together because there's room at the table for all of us.
Yes, I loved it. And I love the fact that the world saw it, because they had over like 500 followers watching, 500,000. And I love that the world got to see these two Black women just Black girl magic all night and just love on each other. This is an image you don't see a lot, And so, they just, I know a lot of people probably went in there expecting one thing and they got something else. But I loved it. I danced and sang every song.
Girl, I don't watch it about 3 times now.
Okay.
And then it's funny because I went in there, I was like, I'm Team Jill, and then I was like, I'm Team Culture. Like I didn't.
I'm just for the culture. Yeah.
So we are going to do. We always do something fun at happy hour. Also, that's how we do. We are going to do our own verses.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Cherry versus Latonia, right? And I know you have a song on your end, and I reached out to Cherry, guys, if you're just tuning in, and I asked her, if there was a song that you had to bump, like over and over and over during the Rona Chronicles, what will it be? And I don't want you to tell me, I just want you to play it. I'm going to get myself set up, but I'll give you a second to get set up over there.
Okay, now I gotta get off camera. Just to get my stuff in.
And this is all, and while you're getting set up over there, I'll just talk to the people for a second.
Yes.
This is Erin Cherry, amazing producer, awesome actress, just awesome spirit, awesome woman of God, all of that other good stuff. But I think that something that I took away from today is the just doing it, the just dreaming out loud, the just taking your space, not being afraid to be you and to stand in that power. Because if you connect to something real and something authentic, you will attract every single thing around you. So I know you guys are thinking, I'm going to get my music ready. We're about to do our own verses right now. Y'all ready?
Let me see. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay. Let me know when you're ready. I'm ready.
You go.
You want me to go? Okay, this is one. Okay, I have so many, but I picked one.
If you have a second, we have time. We have like 10 minutes, so we can do back and forth.
Okay, let me. Okay. Okay, you know this song. Okay, wait. Okay, I'll let you go now. All right.
I was still trying to get ready over here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll play some more. I'll play it till you're ready. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. You ready?
That means you get it.
You make it happen. Yes!
You can tell.
Okay, let me get it. Oh my gosh, okay. This is so good. Okay. This is another one I jam to, especially since I've won. Okay, so this is I'm gonna play this one. Okay, hold on. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, wrong song. Okay, hold on. See? Oh my God, I started the wrong place. I don't know. It's gonna. Oh, hold on.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, here.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. Okay, your turn. Woo! I love it. I love it.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. I should let you play a little bit more.
No. Okay, wait. You want me to play? You need me to play a little?
Okay. Okay. Let's see. I didn't pay for YouTube, so an ad is definitely gonna come up.
Oh, okay, that's fine, girl. Listen, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Come on.
Oh, come on.
It's just that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold.
Yes.
Them good girls, say that's the beat. Styling, smiling, living it up in the
Yes.
With Saint Laurent, gotta kiss myself.
Woo. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. You killed it. You killed it. You killed it. You killed it. I can't wait when it
Yes. Yes.
that brings me back so, oh my God.
Woo.
This is amazing. We gotta do this more. Post-corona, we gotta
Oh my gosh, please, let's do this. I need you to let me know when you dropping the words, I can come support and be in the pew.
Girl, well, once we get up out of this, every
Yeah.
Sunday, the congregation that I actually preach at is the Rock Church Brooklyn, so follow us at the Rock Church Brooklyn. And actually, on Sundays, I'm preaching on Sundays.
Oh, what time are you preaching?
Online.
Well, what time is that? Well, send me the information.
I love her. Yeah, it's be Sunday at 5 p.m. You follow at the Rock Church Brooklyn.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna because that's perfect because I'll do my church in the morning with my pastor and I'm gonna come on down there at 5 p.m. and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna watch you drop a gem and say a word. I love this. Oh my gosh.
Fun. I love you. God bless you. And
thank you for asking me. I was like, who am I? I'm still working on that, but
oh, it's all good. So I always post at the end before Instagram cut us off. If you have something that we can post with, a cup or something, just throw it up in the air, even if it's an empty box. There you go. Awesome. So right now, I just speak nothing but grace and glory into you, that God continues to use you across the whole universe, across the whole global planet, that every single thing that was destined for you happens, and that your voice just gets bigger in this season. Come on.
Ooh, yes. Hey, salud.